So, it's the big one. Debt.
Debt. Debt.
Hey, what's happening? It's Todd from Body and Mind Reboot. Plain and simple, debt sucks. However, if you come to understand it, it's one of those wow moments in life. So, let's just touch on its history. Credit cards in its current form aren't that old. It's like the argument that I have about taxes. It's a very recent phenomenon. In 1950 in New York City, Frank McNamara went store to store to create an innovative instant invoice loan system for restaurants, entertainment, flowers, car rentals. It was called
Surprise!
Diners Club Card.
You, my friend, can use some fun. Big fun. Las Vegas, Atlantic City, cruise ships. But you gotta take this along. The Players Club card.
No. That's an entirely a different thing. Diners Club Card. Not to be outdone, in 1958, the West Coast, namely Bank of America, came up with the predecessor to Visa known as the Bank AmeriCard. And the East and West feud had begun. American Express also forms at this time, popping up not far behind in 1966. United California Bank, Wells Fargo, Crocker National Bank, who all ended up merging into Wells Fargo anyway, and the Bank of California made an inter-network card. When Marine Midland Bank, later HSBC Bank, jumped on, they became MasterCharge. Following the lead of the Bank of America, who in 1976 changed their name to Visa, in 1979, MasterCharge, the interlinked banking card, doesn't really roll off your tongue, simply became MasterCard. And finally, at the height of retail dominance in 1985, Sears has a dispute with Visa and founded Discover. Despite all the players involved at the time, in 1970, roughly 17% of people had a credit card. Debt was still considered an awful, shameful thing. In just 7 years, that jumps to 38% and steadily climbs to over half of all Americans before the turn of the 1990s. What's worse are attitudes towards debt. In 1970, only 6% of families had an outstanding balance on their card, which rose steadily from 1995 and then leveled off at 37%. In 1977, 18% of cardholders reported that they hardly ever paid their revolving accounts in full. That rose to 25% in 1983 and has remained at about that level ever since then. Currently, 13% of people have active credit card debt. That's not just for emergency cards, real debt. That's 1 in 3 people. If you can spend millions on your brand and penetrate the market, you can make the public believe that life without your product is an impossibility.
That is some Mafia Don shit right there.
It's a sad world where everyone is aggressively marketing to their consumer, and these companies just roll in with no real product and market debt. And let's be honest, that's what they're doing. You're not receiving a product, you are receiving a creative billing system where you pay 5 to 28% more for the item you bought. They have put a new set of glasses on us, and I hope to slap those glasses off of you today. Here are the facts, that most retail stores are only able to offer certain products at a low price because they are making more money off the interest of the debt than they are on the products themselves. When Sears got into financial trouble, they sold their most profitable portion of their company, Discover. This should set some alarms off, guys. Now, I know what you're thinking.
But I need a credit card for certain things.
Debit card does the same thing as a credit card.
But I pay my credit card off on time.
Over 100,000 Americans do not. See, plastic transactions are surreal. It makes you feel okay about doing something negative. Credit cards are the heroin of the financial industry.
Well, fine, credit cards suck, but car payments are just a way of life.
Are they? Let's do a little bit of math. The average car payment is about $500. for 4.25 years. If you invested that from age 30 to 70, it would be close to $7 million.
$7 million.
How many of you have heard about FICO? Well, FICO is only good if you plan on going into debt. FICO is a debt-based algorithm. Interactions with debt, FICO is based on debt. So a millionaire or a billionaire with no debt who has never had any debt will have a lower score than a dunce who has a car payment, credit card payments, a house payment, and those are 100% or more of their income. 75% of millionaires gave the answer that the fastest single thing to generate wealth is to get and stay out of debt. Well, finally, I'm debt-free. And it was a long road. I had a few hiccups. One, I bought my car out of order. And by out of order, I'm referring to the fact that I purchased my car before I got out of debt. That's generally a no-no, but my car blew up. However, I paid cash, but still, I bought it out of order. It's currently at 150,000 miles. Yeah, the same car from the Expedition video. I do know this. Over the last couple years, I can now begin to understand how crippling debt is. The borrower is slave to the lender. When I started my journey, I was $41,000 in debt. What kind? Personal loans, car loans, marriage with a wedding on credit, cars on credit, decor on credit, gadgets on credit, moving van on credit, everything on credit. 3 kids, 2 cars, life insurance, credit cards. And finally, I was just about to buy a house. Then my marriage dissolved.
So that didn't happen.
But now I had lawyers' bills, court fees, all types of things. One fateful day, car accident took care of $11,000 of my debt due to my insurance.
Thank God for insurance.
At the time, I was devastated and pissed because I was without a car. I had it. And it was at that point I had taken Dave Ramsey's course, and I started to develop the principles that I use today. I decided that I was going to be debt-free. I bought a junker, the car that I'm driving at the beginning of the Expedition video with a busted radiator. And as you see, I drove it into the ground until I saved enough for my next car. Then I got very focused. I lived at work, busted my ass, and after chipping away at that thing for about 2 or 3 years, finally, I'm debt-free. Guys, I don't say this to impress you. I say this to impress upon you that you are the deciding factor of where your money goes and what kind of life that you want to live. That's it for today. Do me a favor. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe on YouTube. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and thanks for listening. And remember, wherever your path takes you, get excited.
Oh, but before we go, something real exciting.
Guess who's debt free?